And it is time for you to fly like the eagle that you are and not clock like the chicken. Such profound words from that motivational speaker. Now, from one word of advice or several words of advice to another set, we're looking at goal setting for the new year. Now, our guest today is a success catalyst, a career coach. He's also a mentor to many. He's an author, recently authored a book. And today he'll be sharing with us the mistakes, many mistakes that people make when it comes to setting their goals and how we can overcome them. 2019 is your year. Your pastor did not lie. Now, joining us to have this conversation is Jimi Tewe. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Welcome, Jimmy.
2019 is your year, sir.
It is your year, too.
Because I know you told your members too that 2019 is
We
their
try,
year.
yeah, but it is the year, but just that it ends up we end up having different outcomes at the end of the day. But really, it can be everybody's year.
All right.
It
So what
should
is it?
be.
What is it that makes the year not people's year? Because many people say at the end of 2018, they said, "Oh they told me it was my year," and I did not. It wasn't really my year. I didn't do everything that I wanted to do.
Somebody said one challenge is that you enter a new year with the old you. So you're going to produce an old year. Just reproduce it essentially. So every time you want something new, there has to be some sort of transformation. Not just a decision to say, you know what, I'm going to do 1, 2, 3. It's what we call the New Year resolutions. And that's why they really don't work. Because again, without you introspecting, identifying the areas where you have challenges with, making commitments and creating an accountability system around you, you will reproduce what you're going to do. I always give the example about people that go to the gym, you know, first day excited and all that. When the pain comes, then they withdraw. Every time you're about to birth your new, the pain will come. Would you forge ahead or stay behind? So that's what differentiates people. So whether you're a business owner, you're a career person and all that, you say to yourself, this year, I want to earn 7 digits. What does that mean? You need to do your project management course. You need to do your CFA and all those kind of things. Then that means that your weekends, you can no longer go for Owambe and things like that. And that means that, I mean, after a while, you're like, this thing is too stressful. What you're saying is, I want to go back to who I was. And then you produce what you had before. That's how it works.
So really, how can people deal with not going into, you know, the new year with that old them,
Mindset,
so
yes.
to speak?
It is, yes. So I think that there are 2 motivators really that help people. You are either inspired or you are desperate. Those are the 2 forces that basically bring change. If you've ever seen somebody that maybe was about to be kicked out of school, all of a sudden is reading, he's desperate. He has a reason to be serious at that point in time. However, I find people that are also inspired. So the question I always ask is, what area are you tired of what you're tired of? All right? So for example, people say to me, oh, I want to increase my finances. I want to work on my finances in the new year and all that. But again, they're spending like they used to spend before and all that. However, if they say to themselves, maybe somebody says to them, you know what? If you are able to save 5 million naira, maybe like a millionaire speaks to them. If you save 5 million naira, I will give you 2 million naira or 5 million naira extra. All of a sudden, they have a reason to do. Then they now begin to, when they get to the point where they have to make a decision whether they're going to spend or not, they remember they have a reason not to. That gives them strength to do that. So I find that a lot of people make the decisions without being inspired to do so or without being desperate to do so. Okay? Yeah. That's
So inspiration or desperation?
Yes. I prefer inspiration, actually. Desperation can actually lead to some catastrophe at the end of the day, yes.
Okay, so now I know that you mentioned in the course of your speaking that, you know, you create accountability systems around you.
Yes.
How do we go about this? Because I know that accountability system is very perfect when it comes to dealing with procrastination. Because you want people to be able to say, Olive, you said you were going to do this, hold it to your word.
Yes.
But these people also have their lives. They also have their goals and their dreams. So how do you decide who you make your accountability partners and how do you, put it across to them?
Okay, so first and foremost, you must make sure it's somebody that is really interested in your future. And what that means is someone that can actually tell you the truth. It's important. Not everybody that says I'm your friend is your friend. Your friend sees you going wrong, will tell you you're doing wrong, okay? The second thing is that, so you have to communicate it to them, find that kind of person, but you must empower them to be interested in you. So I have somebody that's a close friend of mine, and what he does is that if he wants to do something, he will give the person $1 million. And will say to you that every month I'm meant to do this. The month I don't do it, 100,000 naira is yours, deducted. Of course, you'll be interested in that. But he has put himself in a position where he must save his 100,000 because if not, his friend is going to eat that money. When we do coaching, one of the most effective ways that we actually do this is when people sign up to a program, we actually ask them to make an extra deposit of money that belongs to them, provided they do the things they said they will do. Now, I won't make it a joke, but I actually do it sometimes. I tell them that if you don't do it, I'll take your money and I'll buy shawarma and I'll eat it and send you the picture. And I do it, right? So usually people will say to me, oh, there's an assignment that is due on Saturday. They are meant to do something for their lives, not for me. Is they want to do it. And then they say, sir, I cannot submit my assignment and all that. My work, my boss called me as I am on my way to Bielsa. There's something I say, great, no problem at all. I'll send you the picture of shawarma. It's not difficult. It's a choice you're making. And guess what I find out? They find a way around it. They could have found a way around it, but they have put themselves in a position where they will have no excuse. A lot of people don't keep their resolution because there's no consequence to not doing it. Once there's consequence, you take it seriously.
Okay, so speaking of consequences, there have been people who have said it's not like they didn't want to achieve the goals they had set, but like life happened to them.
Okay.
And now you made it, you just gave an example of somebody saying, oh, I have to do this, I have to do that. But how do we define what's important? That's my question.
Well, importance is relative to everybody. And I think that, again, is very critical. So I advise, today's the last of the year, first day of the year. And so it's a bit late to be doing this, but they say there are 2 times to do it, yesterday and then right now. I think people need to sit back to find what is important to them. I find that in our generation, we have people that copy what is important to other people, but it's really not important to them. So I have people that work, for example, family is very important to them, but there's a friend of theirs that is probably single, that's traveling all over the world, doing all these courses and all those kind of things. So they want to emulate that person, but it has impact on their family. Do you get my point? So you have to be able to sit to know what matters most to you and do that devoid of any influence. Once you're clear about that, that will now determine the kind of opportunities you will say yes to, and there's some that you say no to. I'll give an example recently. I was talking to somebody, I used to work in the banking sector, and then one day I got a call from the CEO of the company, really great guy. If I mention the name, you probably know. And apparently he was going to interview me. Somebody I said, oh, there's this young guy in this department. So he has this conversation with me, and I know where he's going to. Most likely, I'm probably going to move to his department and all that. When I got down, I told my boss, if they move me, I'll resign from the company. Not because he's a bad guy, but the role requires I'll be away from my family, away from the things that matter to me, and that I could not trade. I found other ways I could still make progress in my career, but I wasn't willing to take that. Other people said to me, why? But this is a great opportunity. You are working directly with this CEO. I mean, if I mention his name, and all, but that was not in alignment with what was important to me. But when you don't know what's important to you, everybody will tell you, you're working with him, go for it.
So I think the first step is for people, as today's the first day of the year, outline what is important to you, what is priority.
Exactly.
Because what is priority to me might not be priority
exactly,
to you.
yes.
Let's look at other practical steps to goal setting.
All right.
When people say, okay, I want to set goals for this new year, or people who have already set goals, what are the things they should have at the back of their mind? The first thing you've mentioned now is what is important to you. What are the other things we must x-ray while setting our goals?
Again, I think that you have to look at the different aspects of life you want to set goals in, okay? So everybody has different dimensions of their life. So for example, you have goals with your health, you have goals with your finances, because again, if your finances are not okay, it can affect every other area. Do you get my point? So pick out what are the major dimensions of life that matter to you. Now, what I find out, for example, is that different seasons of life, what matters yesterday might not matter today. Do you get my point, right? Yeah. So if I was single last year but married now, some things did not matter then, but they now matter now. So I have to take that into perspective, okay? Once you're clear about those areas, then you now begin to say to yourself, all right, how have I done in this area relative to the past? What do I intend to achieve in this 365 days that are ahead of me? Now, we always say that your goals must be SMART, and that's basic, all right? Specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-bound. And that is very critical. That is the basic foundation of goal setting, all right? So basically, I would say, I'll give an example. So for me, my health matters. And so they say that once you become 40, you can't eat everything. I don't believe them yet, but I try. So it means you can't eat late in the day. There's something you cannot do, so you have to go to the gym and all that. Now, the truth about it is that if I discard that knowledge, God forbid, in 20 years' time, I'll have a health challenge. And then I'll have wished I did not do. I'll give an example. I used to take fizzy drinks in that was my norm. I wake up, just to kickstart the day, take it, In February, I can't ever forget, February of 2018, I remember that morning I was drinking a bottle of, one of those things. And I was chatting to someone younger than me, and the person said, but you told me you don't want to do this. Why are you doing it to yourself? I was halfway through that bottle. That was the last bottle I took last year, February. It just occurred to me, why am I doing it to myself? And I said to myself, I will not drink this again. Boy, that was tough because I really like this drink, okay? So I had to look for alternatives. And that's another thing that is there, right? Okay, because again, some goals are corrective and then some are aspirational. Okay, so you need to be able to differentiate and all those kind of things. So, but those are your goals. So now there's another concept about goals. They say you should have smart, audacious goals. All right. So because sometimes you can set a goal that is just around the corner.
But what's the thin line between setting an audacious goal or
And
setting a goal that is
goal.
exactly outrageous?
Well, again, I think that you have to be honest with yourself. The same way they say to you when it comes to finances, be conservative in estimation. So there's a fine balance that is there, but everybody tends to know what it is. So sometimes people say, okay, if, for example, in finances, I saved 3 million naira next year, I want to save 7 million naira, all right? So rather than say I'm saving 30 million naira, no. What you do is you save 7 million, then you might now get a windfall and now have 30 million. Do you get my point? Okay. So that's the balance that is there.
Okay, so we've had people post on Facebook, Instagram, everywhere. I want to change my friends, take away toxic people. Cut off toxic people. And, I have a question.
Yes.
What is toxic? Who is toxic? Because I know it's not just a matter of the people.
Yes.
Some people have to take out toxic habits.
Sure.
Like fizzy drinks.
What's your definition of toxic?
So first of all, I didn't post that, all right? Just so you know, I'm just kidding. All right, but I think I've observed it. And in fact, there's another one now, some people posting saying, please, you cut everybody off. It's okay, it's not my business, right?
Yeah,
so, I mean, it's just, but I think, let's look at the good parts to it, At every point in time, periodically, you're going to have to review your relationships. One of the biggest forces that takes you forward or backwards are people that are closest to you, people that you allow within your personal space. And so, in 2019, I have a list of 12 mentors, 12 peers, and 12 mentees that I'm working with. They don't know. The peers, they are my friends. They don't know I'm their friend, but I am their friend. It's my responsibility. Now, I don't think I'm going to spend my time trying to cut off people. I'm going to be thinking about how to latch onto people. When we talk about getting people to change their habits, we don't focus on don't do it. We talk about what you do. Because if you focus on what you do, you will not have time to do what you don't want to do. When we say don't do, your focus is on what you should not do, and you will do it again. All right? So that's what I'm saying. So rather than saying, I'm cutting off all toxic, so cut off to add on what? So why don't you focus your relationship, or you focus more on what kind of relationships you want to build in the new year and all that. Now, the more you do that, you really would now develop a lack of appetite for any toxic relationship. So my balance around that is don't focus too much about the toxic. Now, there are people clearly that that are causing problems for you. I think that it would be a bit rude to say, Oliver, I'm the one that stopped my destiny in 2018. So if you call me, I'll deal with you, all right? I don't think it's right. I think that I'm just going to focus on my future, and Olive keeps trying to call me. I'm like, I'll call you. After a while, Olive will get the message. That's the way it works.
Wisdom is profitable to direct, Don't go out there with scissors cutting people.
Because you might need that person down the line. That's the truth. You see, toxic people are still people, and they might not remain toxic forever, but the way you handle them, in the future, when they're in the position to help you, they're able to help you.
Words, I'm snapping to that. Toxic people are still people, and they will not always remain toxic.
Yeah.
In the future, you might need them.
Very
so
true.
do not burn bridges. You can respectfully allow the relationship to just fade away, but then, still find a way around it. Let's talk about, career development. You recently wrote a book. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
You wrapped up 2018 with a book.
Start the new year.
What's the title of the book?
Pillars of Career Success.
Pillars of Career Success.
Yes.
So if you were to tell us, all of us are, this is our career. The people watching have their career. Exactly. What would you say are your top 3 tips? We're not saying you should give us all the secrets of the book.
Okay, all right.
Top 3 tips that we need to work on getting ourselves to the next level in our career.
So let me even try to make it even a bit more relevant in 2019 in Nigeria. One of the things I speak about, one of the pillars is called awareness. And I do a test when I do trainings, and by the end of the test, people realize how unaware they are. And something I began to teach in 2018, I said there's a difference between what is happening and what is going on. What is going on is producing what is happening. But you might know what is happening, but really know what's not going on. Let me explain what that means. So, unfortunately, we still have local flights that are moved, right? So recently I was going to Uyo, and I got to the airport. My flight was 11 o'clock. So I got there at about 10:15. I presented my ticket to the person, and a lady at the counter, and she says to me, "Oh, your flight is 2." I said, "No, my flight is 11." She says, "Your flight is 2." I said, "No, my flight is 11." Then I look at her, I'm like, "Have you moved to 2?" She says, "Your flight is 2." What was happening was I was going to fly. I thought it was 11. But what was going on that they had moved the flight? If I knew what was going on, I'd have chilled at home. Are we together? Yeah. So there's so many things going on in industries. And one of the biggest things going on in 2019 is the elections. Whether you like it or not, it will affect how things are. Yeah. We trust God, it's going to be an amazing election. We would have the right leaders. May 29, we swear them in and whatever, and we're good to go. But in business scenario planning, you don't plan with just the best situation. You plan and say what exactly would have happened. So for example, one of the things that's happening right now is that a lot of organizations, corporates, are not going to do major projects until after the elections. Foreign direct investments are not going to come in a lot until after the election. So there's a lot of wait till February 16, all right, for presidential. And if they move it, like they did the last time, then we wait a bit. So if you don't take that into cognizance, you will have this really nice plan on paper that will not work in real life.
Fantastic. So awareness is very key.
Very key.
Is the first one. I'm tempted to ask you for the second and third, but I'll just say people should go and get your book instead.
Thank you.
They should get your book and find out all the information.
Yes, that's
Thank
fine.
you so much for
Thank
joining
you very
us.
much, Ollie.
And Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you too.
All right,
Happy New Year
please.
to you too.
Anyway, we'll talk about this after
Not
the
a
show.
problem at all.
We've been speaking with Jimi Tewe, career coach, consultant, analyst, and mentor, as well as author, and he's let us know all that we need to know with regards to goal setting. We hope that you've been able to make notes and that you'll be able to make informed decisions. And if you have further questions, you know, and you need coaching of some sort, Jimi Tewe on Instagram, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the website. That's the Instagram handle to follow.
To enjoy more of these our Ogbonge videos when you just watch, press this button to subscribe on top of our YouTube page. You go love am.